Today guys, we're discussing a great filmmaking kit with your full frame Sony camera that doesn't make you go broke. Let's go! What's good guys, my name is Oleg Nikitin and you're watching No Limits On channel. So last time I did show you a kit for APS-C Sony cameras, and a lot of stuff will be similar in here, like the microphones, on-camera monitors, batteries, etc. So in this video I'll just tell you the items that I use, and if you want more information you can go back to that video where I explain why I do recommend those types of products. So let's move on. Sony ZV-E1, the full frame camera for not a lot of cash, $2,200, that has Sony FX3, A7S III, FX6 sensor, and great image quality, superb low light capabilities, great autofocus, even in clear image zoom you retain autofocus. And I did a huge comparison of this camera with the Sony FX30, which is filming me right now, so if you want to learn more you can head to this video as well. I'll leave it in the description below. So all in all, this camera is great. It has two main drawbacks. First of all, you need to buy a small rig cage for it to be able to fix the micro HDMI issue, to tighten it down so it doesn't go loose. And also it has some overheating issues. You need to buy an external fan like this one from Ulanzi. It's a must for this camera. And also it has only one SD card slot, so if you want to use it with one card slot, you are pretty fine with that. You are a blogger, you don't film like super important stuff like recording presidents of different companies or weddings, you'll be more than fine with one card slot. But if you do need some backup recording, you can use something like Axon 4K that can record up to 4K 30 as a backup into your iPhone, or use Itamas Ninja 5 like I'm using right now on the Sony FX30 as well. But all in all guys, you'll be more than happy with this camera because the image quality, the autofocus is just real nice. So also you can consider the Sony A7 IV if you want to film videos and also take some photos occasionally, because it has 33 megapixels, downsampled 4K video from 7K to 4K, great image quality, but the rolling shutter is not the best. Also we have a crop, APS-C crop in 4K 60, and you don't have 4K 120 frames per second, but if you're okay with that, you film mostly talking heads and very important ones, you do need dual card slots. The A7 IV is also a good option. We also have the A7C II, which is nice, but it has kind of the drawbacks from the both worlds. So the crop in 4K 60, no 4K 120, overheating like in here, and also one card slot. So to me the A7C II is a no-go. I would consider the ZV-E1 and the Sony A7 IV. We're not talking about the A7S III or FX3 because they're well above $3,500, and we're trying to make this kit as budget as possible but still retaining good value and great quality. Now let's talk lenses. Recently I had a video where I've been comparing the f2.8 versus f4 zoom lenses, and where I protect the f4 lenses, and my main lens that I highly recommend to you guys for full frame Sony cameras is the 20-70 f4G lens from Sony, because this lens contains actually three different lenses in one. Let me explain. First of all, you get great range of focal length from 20mm ultra wide end to 17mm. With clear image zoom you can get up to 105mm with a little bit of image quality decrease, but all in all you can go to 105 and nobody would notice, guys. So this is a great all-around events coverage and reportage style lens. You don't need more than f4 lens for this type of shots, especially considering 12,800 second native ISO of the ZV-E1. Also, this lens can compensate an ultra-wide lens, so you don't actually need an ultra-wide lens. I can use this lens for real estate shots, for different events. I can use this lens with dynamic active stabilization in the ZV-E1 and have around 30mm full frame equivalent and have super smooth motion. Also, native Sony lenses have better stabilization. The IBIS works simply better with native Sony lenses, and I can show you different examples of how it actually works, and you do see the difference, guys. And also this lens features a ton of customizable buttons, controls, aperture ring, it's really sharp wide open, and also the third occasion is that it has macro capabilities, 1 to 2 macro reproduction at 70mm, so you don't need to buy an extra macro lens. So in total you have an ultra-wide lens, a zoom lens, a versatile zoom lens, and a macro lens in one. For $1,100, it's a no-brainer, guys, and I love this lens. It's simply amazing. As an alternative, you can buy something like 28-75 f2.8 G2 from Tamron, as well as 20mm f2.8 from Viltrox. But guys, those are two lenses, they are f2.8, they are not super sharp, especially in the corners. The 28-75 has pretty tough distortion, also it doesn't have as good of an autofocus, the stabilization is going to be worse with this lens. And all in all, you can save about $100–150 buying those two Viltrox and Tamron lenses. But all in all, guys, I would not consider buying those two instead of this one. This one is a beautiful lens for the event coverage, for the macros, for real estate. It's super versatile. One of the best lenses I've ever used on the Sony system, and I do consider this lens to be better than the GM Mark II, the 24-70 Mark II. It's more versatile and it's smaller. And it's better. In my opinion, I would buy two of those instead of one GM Mark II because it's 2 times the price. So let's move on. The next lens I'm going to recommend is the Sony FE35mm f1.8. This is definitely my favorite lens, which has been stolen from me a year ago in Italy. So as for now, I'm using the Viltrox 28mm f1.8. It's fine, but the stabilization with this lens is horrible. Actually, it's fine for static shots on a gimbal, on a monopod, but for handheld movements, it's a no-go. So for you guys, I can highly recommend the Sony 35 f1.8. You can see the image quality of this lens. It's outstanding. It's super compact. It doesn't have focus breathing. It has great minimum focus and distance. It's sharp. The bokeh is great. So all in all, just pick this lens. You won't be disappointed. So you would be more than fine with those two lenses, but also I can recommend you a third lens, which is an 85mm f1.8. You can purchase a Sony lens, Sony version, but it's a pretty old one. Here I have the Yongnuo 85mm f1.8 SDF DSM, which is considered to be the sharpest lens ever by DxOMark. I'm not sure why, but still it is sharp, wide open. It has pretty nice bokeh, it's small, it's compact, it's lightweight, and I thought that I would sell this lens, but actually I'm using it a lot for the talking head shots when I film interviews. So all in all, this lens is a great decision because it's super cheap. It's $350, whereas the Sony lens is much more expensive. You can also consider the Viltrox 85 f1.8 Mark II, but it's a bit more bulky and heavy than this one. So I'm more than fine with this Yongnuo lens, can recommend it. And guys, different accessories. I've talked about the same type of accessories in my previous video about the APS-C camera and kit combination. So if you want more information about those devices, you can head there after this video and watch it in more detail. So as far as the ND filter goes, I do recommend Haida 3 to 7 stops plus polarizing filter, great one. For the audio equipment, I do recommend either Rode Wireless Pro, but it's a bit on the expensive side. That is why I can recommend the Holyland Lark Max for $250. 2 transmitters, 1 receiver, built-in recording capabilities, great audio quality, noise cancellation, and so on. Recommend. As far as the monitor goes, Axon Seymour 4K can record up to 4K 30 internally as a backup if your camera has only one SD card like the ZV-E1. Has great image quality if you have your iPhone with you, like iPhone 15 Pro Max in this case. All in all, great device, super compact, and really affordable as well. If you don't consider this one, you can purchase the Gimbal M5 on-camera monitor, 1000 nits, 5-inch monitor, great one with good functionality as well. For SD cards, I do recommend Lexar V60 cards because they are simply great and they didn't let me down. Never. Also, they can record 4K 100 and so on and so forth. Great SD cards. Don't forget to get at least one original Sony battery, and as far as the gimbal goes, for the APS-C cameras I did recommend a tiny gimbal like 700 grams, this type of gimbal, but for the full frame camera like the ZV-E1 with the cage and with the 20-70 set to 70 millimeters, because you can see it's a bit too long with 70 millimeters, I do recommend DJI RSC2 because it's a great gimbal, it can fold, it can handle this type of camera and lens combination easily, and it's not that expensive. It's around $300, $350. So it's more than fine for a lot of different tests for the gimbal and for the full frame camera in this big of a lens combination. I mean big when it's extended to 70 millimeters, of course. And you can get a pretty cheap tripod for static type of shots, for talking head shots like Ulanzi Umbra. For $70, you'll be more than happy with it. But if you do need a fluid head tripod or something else, here on the channel I have a couple of tripods reviewed, so you can have a look right there. To conclude, guys, what you can film with this kit: 20-70, 35 f1.8 and 85 f1.8. you can film everything. Commercials, check. Weddings, check, with a cooler and with a recorder, if you use the ZVE one. Then, dances, check. Real estate, check. Basically everything, guys. It's just a great value, great quality kit. Just trust me. If you did enjoy this video, please smash the like and subscribe buttons, guys, and hit the notifications bell. And right here, I have a huge video of the best full frame lenses for Sony cameras. See you in that one, guys. Take care. Bye.